So, welcome to Footprints in the Market. We are on our first episode of season three, and we always say we like to start off with a bang. And we've got John Wright from Statstone joining us today. Thank you so much, John, for joining us.
Thanks, Sharon. Really nice being here. Thank you.
Thank you. So, what I thought we'd do is just do a little bit a background on Statstone itself. So, Stephen, if you could just give our listeners a little bit of a background of what Statstone does, its place in the iGaming industry, and why it's here.
Yeah, it's we built it to solve problems not being solved on the affiliate marketing side. So how do we help the data come to light for affiliate marketers? So sometimes I say it's like the QuickBooks for affiliates, but we do a lot more than that. It's how do we help affiliates optimize their business and help them avoid revenue leaks? So it's yeah, advanced tracking tools for affiliates.
So I would imagine that's like the biggest pain point then effectively that you guys solve that sort of revenue stream loss.
Yeah, the revenue leak is actually, I think, a major problem. It's very difficult to articulate how much it's costing affiliates, but we find affiliate sites linking to closed operators like every day. It's a massive list. So trying to stop them from losing money and putting that where, sending that traffic where they're actually going to get paid for it.
And I think just now as well within the iGaming space, like when I first started, and I always kind of say this, it was very, very operator and affiliate heavy, but no tech. So it was all just kind of like everybody was desperate just to create as much traffic as possible and just kind of like hope something sticks. But I'm guessing, is there something like unique within Statstone comparatively to other techs that you think is like gives it that little bit of a USP for affiliates to use?
Yeah. It's a great analogy because I think even on all parts of iGaming, there's a lot that could be optimized, and we've relied on old tech just because it made a lot of money. So if it's not broken, don't fix it. One tool that we're growing in and we're looking to push forward is dynamic variables. So it's click ID level tracking, and the things that you're able to get from it are just immense. It can give a lot of power back to affiliates. So you as the affiliate can own your own player when you have first party data combined with click ID level tracking. So it's a little technical, but our job is to try to make it easier to understand, and then we have to make it a done for you service.
You're listening to Footprints in the Market, the marketing playbook for iGaming. Expect unfiltered insight from market leaders on their industry experience, real life case studies, pitfalls to avoid, and actionable takeaways for practical growth of your brands. Footprints in the Market is brought to you by Digital Footprints, your strategic marketing partner and safest bet in iGaming. Do you think there is still that sort of education piece that's needed within like the importance of that and the importance of tracking and the importance of tech? Because I've even found from like an agency like perspective, even when we're talking about like marketing in general and SEO and all these kind of things, like there is sometimes, not all brands obviously, but there is sometimes a traditional mentality and to kind of move people over to like these techs that can help them can sometimes be a mindset shift. Are you guys finding that with the onboarding, or has it been pretty straightforward?
It's not straightforward, and what you said is a really interesting realization that there's a lot of interesting companies that can help make you more money a lot faster, or help stop you losing money. And I think the education part is all of our collective responsibilities. Like it's tools like Optimove, Fast Track for CRM. It is Greco for bonus abuse to stop you from losing money. And it doesn't end. I mean, it's like, you want to have like VIP consulting with like Warrior Lab. So you've got a solid VIP program. You want the new AI tools to optimize your business with things like FieldStream.ai or Golden Whale. It doesn't end, but I'm an advocate for these types of companies because when they help an operator make more money, the affiliates are the beneficiaries. Like
Yeah.
an operator goes out of business, affiliates just lost their lifetime rev share account. If they can make more money, then they've maintained that edge.
I seen a post that you actually did on LinkedIn. I think it was in the last week, and I thought it was hilarious. And it was about I think you'll already know which one I'm going to say. I bet you. It was the one on the Google Sheets, or was it
Yeah.
Excel or something like that? And it's about how affiliates can still like monitor their campaigns, and that's what they're using. Tell us a little bit more about that, because that generated so much traction. And I nearly did do a repost, but I just laughed at
Yeah. It's almost sad because it's true. It's like, the
it.
iGaming industry is built upon spreadsheets, and, the image is like, all these boxes, and there's a tiny little Excel box that's supporting the whole thing, and you take it out and the entire business falls apart. That's very true for even some billion dollar companies. I don't want to name them, but I hear the stories behind, from people that work there, and they're big. You wouldn't believe how we run this business, and they just tell me it's constant spreadsheets, and spreadsheets can be good, but when there's a platform that can automate a lot of that, we need better automation. That's what we're lacking a lot of in iGaming.
I think that's the thing. And I think when people are talking about automation and AI in general, there's that automatic kind of like barrier around it. But even when we were kind of speaking about it in marketing, it doesn't have to replace people. It just makes things more efficient and it makes things more effective. And I think there is this like worry of, oh, if you just use too much tech, we're just, we're replacing jobs, we're replacing, we're doing all of this. But actually, it's not because you could grow affiliates using it. Then there could be more jobs, there could be more, that kind of stuff in the industry. I don't know what your thought process in that is.
I try to believe what you said to be true in the sense that when people talked about like 20, 30, 40 years ago that Excel and spreadsheets were going to destroy jobs, like,
Yeah.
what are accountants going to do?
Yeah.
But what it did was it actually had the opposite effect. It created more opportunities. People were able to get more work done with less effort. I mean, I think we all kind of aspire to that. So it's like, can we do not just more work, but smarter work? Hopefully, that's the way we're going to move rather than, everyone's job's just going to be eliminated. But I think now it's like, yeah, nothing wrong with knowing your Excel and spreadsheet skills. That's still important, but you're going to need to start stacking that, I think.
And where do you think the sort of operators come into play? Because obviously Stashmone's like it's for affiliates, but do you think that part of the problem is that there's like maybe a lack of transparency and visibility? And do you think that there's ways that operators can help as well?
Yeah, good question. I think the problem that exists on both the affiliate side and the operator side has been a common problem. It's if we can double our traffic, we double our revenue, but no one's really thinking about how do we double our conversion rate. This is a thing that affiliates should be focusing on and operators as well. So like just using like, okay, how much is bonus hunting costing your business? Imagine being able to turn on a Greco service and then you actually increase your player values because you're now removing all these players that are just kind of taking the life out of it. So that's one part. The other part, I think, in terms of what you said about transparency, I think transparency is going to happen by accident. So to give you an example, it's like when tools like postbacks and dynamic variables become in all these affiliate programs, it's not that operators are doing it because they want to be super transparent. They're doing it because paid media companies basically say, I cannot give you a single click unless you have these tools available because I need to know when I'm buying traffic, I need to know my profit is greater. The second it drops, I need to turn off my traffic. Pretty simple. That's really driving a lot of change. It's not because it's transparent. It's like if you want all of this traffic, which is a lot of money and value, you need the tools for it. And we're now moving pretty fast forward into these new tool sets, which is great for affiliates.
I wanted to talk to you a little bit, John, about your own brand and how your journey through that. So, like, you've had a little bit of an interesting backstory. Do you still do like professional gambling? Is that right? Am I right in thinking that?
Yeah, and that's how I got started into iGaming. It was purely accidental, had zero intentions of doing that. I actually went to school for engineering and I did robotics and AI, and I had my whole life mapped out in front of me, especially when it came to work. And yeah, one of my friends who started getting into professional gambling, he's like, "You'd be great at this," because of math background. We're both engineering students, and yeah, I said, okay, let me give it a try. If it doesn't work, I'm just going to add a tiny amount of debt on the credit card on top of my massive student debt. So I said, if it doesn't work, I'm just going to get a real job. And, I didn't really think it was much of a threat, but I did have a lot of friends and family really look down upon me. They're like, I lost respect for you. And, like I thought you could have been a doctor, not someone gambling online. And then later on, when they saw the money I was making, they were like, "Can I borrow some money?" And so everything changed. It's yeah, people don't think bad about me anymore.
There you go. I think that's the thing. I think there is always like a stigma attached to it, especially when it's the word gambling. I think we've tried to soften it by using like iGaming, but I think that doesn't work. I feel like people they know that we're just using a softer word for it.
It confuses people, and we're okay with it because we know what we're talking about. But
Yeah, exactly. And how have you managed to grow it so quickly? Because I have noticed that Stone just on social channels, at conferences, at like lightning speed.
yeah,
And you're now just
it's
associated massively with the color purple. So literally, if I see somebody wearing purple at a conference, I'm automatically like, is that Saxstone?
Glad to hear that. Yeah, the branding that was intentional from day one, but we didn't even know if we were going to just like do like walk around in purple shirts. It was kind of like, let's just try it and see if it worked. Because, back then we were doing like, dressing smart with a blazer, but we didn't feel we were very approachable. And it's like people didn't know we existed. So we just tried things like, a lot of things look like, we look smart for it now, but a lot of it was like I'm pretty blunt and honest. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm just going to try a campaign, and if it works, we stick with it. If it doesn't work, we try something else. So, the t-shirts started working where we're like, wait, we can find each other, and it was very easy to tell people it's like I'm in purple, and it was pretty easy to spot. And then we started saying, well, let's put on hats because now we can really see each other in the crowds. The hats made it a lot easier. And then everything else in terms of like, the marketing and media, that's been kind of years of progress. So it's, I think what people are seeing right now is like the iceberg effect, where it's like, here's the tip. They don't see the years of work that have gone into it previously, where now we've got a bit of our own media platform that we're able to just kind of turn things on, which is for us, it's nice, but it took a lot of years of experience, and it also took a lot of like, again, I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm just gonna start a podcast and see if that actually translates to sales. We're going to do a LinkedIn newsletter and see if that, resonates with people. And, we're going to be a little active on one channel, which we picked as LinkedIn, where I think a lot of our industries there, like maybe they're on, Telegram and
Yeah.
WhatsApp groups, and those will still exist. But yeah, it was lots of work, but a lot of trial and error.
I think that's the thing. I think sometimes people think there's like a silver bullet when it comes to marketing, and that's just kind of like not the case. Like it is cumulative. People need to see your brand multiple times before they're able to resonate with it. It's not just having a podcast. It's not just the LinkedIn newsletter. It has to be continuous, exposure levels.
Yeah, I do think that, if we had to redo this all over again, we could probably accelerate it. And the thing that I'm a big believer in is I think audio and video is like, it's always been important for at least 10 years, but now it's becoming more so. I mean, people want to buy from people. So it's like if they see your video, whether it's, me being on your show, like right now is a perfect example, having my own podcast, or just saying, hey, I'm just going to record a video and throw it up on YouTube. It's all these touch points that are, in my opinion, a bit more stronger. It's that's why I think with what you're doing in your media channel, like this is what really drives a lot of value. People want to listen to it on their own time. They connect with it a lot better, and you know, it's like just even like this recording we're doing right now. It's kind of like, it feels like, we've been like friends for a long time, and we're just kind of like having a chat. And, that's the power of like, things like a podcast.
Footprints in the Market is sponsored by BetComply because in iGaming, compliance isn't just a tick box exercise. From new market entry to ever changing regulations, BetComply keeps you one step ahead. Don't risk it, own it. Head to betcomply.com and take control of your compliance today. And I think especially within the iGaming space, because it is like, well, from my experience, definitely, it is like a really, really friendly, kind of informal, like industry comparatively to the ones that I've been in. So when I'd first joined, I was like, I'd never thought there would be anything like it. I was like so shocked when you're going to conferences and literally you've been there 10 minutes and you've made like five new best friends that are you're going to dinner with in the next. So I think this kind of content and this kind of thought leadership probably is stuff that resonates more with it because it's just how we are in terms of culture. I don't know how you feel about that, like being, not being from that industry and kind of coming into it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like, I don't really like I'm kind of an extrovert, but I'm also not comfortable just cold approaching people.
Yeah.
So I try to make it easier for people to do the opposite, where it's like, hey, be in purple, have a logo that people can at least Google if they want, or ask a question like, what is this? But I do think that our industry is pretty, I don't want to say totally unique, but unique compared to other industries. Like the generic affiliate marketing industry, they're friendly, but it's just a different vibe. The SEO space, for a lot of the SEO people out there, I find it's pretty similar. Like people genuinely want to help people out. Like there's competition, and there's like, let's have a drink and talk about, business and things that, you wouldn't really share over a Zoom call, but you do that over a drink.
That was going to be my next question. So, like, obviously, there's multiple digital agencies within the iGaming space, and I like to think that I'm pals with all of them. So, like, like a couple of them have even appeared on this podcast, so we can actually share ideas, share
Yeah.
thoughts, because not everybody's an expert in absolutely everything. So, it's great to collaborate. Have you experienced the same thing with your tech, or is it been a little bit competitive, and how have you tried it, and how have you overcome that?
Yeah, it's a good question. I'm trying to do a couple things with our direct competitors to go, how can we kind of help each other? So it's like, that whole phrase, what is it? Rising tides lift all boats. We are directly going, we can't share the same one customer. So I am fighting hard to get that one customer from them. But at the same time, we have like a small, tiny market share of what could be possible. So I am mindful of that. And then there's so many collab opportunities. I actually think iGaming is probably behind the times when it comes to these weird, unique partnerships that seem to happen everywhere else. So I know in the generic affiliate marketing space, there's more of it. In the SEO space, there's a lot of it. So it's like, why can't we have partnerships that are just beyond the traditional ones, which is here's your affiliate and here's your operator and here's your tracking link and here's your commission, and like calling that a partnership is technically true, but it's not something like going, okay, let me just leapfrog the operator and I'm an affiliate. I'm going to go right to a game provider and do something unique and collaborative. Another example, like I just had a call with Scalio. So we don't compete with them directly, but they do affiliate network and affiliate platform software. We have customers that are affiliate networks using our platform, but they already have like a more built out system. So it's kind of like if someone wants a done for you service out of the box ready to go, it's like, it's easy for me to be like, why am I going to try to work hard to get a customer that's going to eat up more of my time? It's like, here's a direct partnership. And, I think it's a two-way street.
Yeah, 100%. And what's next for your sort of marketing plans within Startstone? Have you got anything that's, I don't know, you could give us an exclusive on?
Yeah.
Anything that you want to tell us about that's exciting?
Yeah. If you'd asked that question a couple weeks ago, I probably wouldn't have the answer I'm going to give you right now, which is, I believe we actually have like, a small problem, but it's a good problem. It's that some companies don't know what we have for tools. Like they actually think we're a basic platform that just gets data, but we're way more than that. We can get really rich data and we're very accurate with it. And we've got massive coverage and we have amazing customer support. So, I mean, we've had people that have basically just assumed that we don't do X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, okay, that's our messaging problem that we have to fix. So, one thing that we're going to be focused on moving forward for I call it H2 and beyond is it's not just that we'll get attention on LinkedIn and we have the podcast and we have the newsletter. It's that we're going to show what we're capable of doing. So it's a mixture of like showing off educational content and educational partnerships that kind of showcase some of the tools we have and go, how do we look smarter where we know what we are, but
Yeah.
yeah, we want to change the perception that people think, our marketing is here and our product's there. And we're like, we actually believe it's the opposite. We think our marketing is it's like just getting started. And something else that we're looking to change in terms of like the marketing part is we're starting to build our own research tools. And we believe that, you know, kind of like, our whole media channels are interested in one of two things. I either want to be entertained or I want to be educated. So
Yeah.
we're going to go down the education rabbit hole a bit deeper and go, how can I get market data that doesn't exist that I personally want? So we've built a tool that we're about to launch very soon, and it's got a lot of industry data that I don't think I've ever seen before. So
Oh,
we want to basically go, how do we share this data? Well, okay, we can do it through a newsletter and podcasts and LinkedIn, but I think we want to be very intentional about how we share it. So it's going to be maybe either quarterly or monthly report and go,
mhm.
how do we just kind of give something to the whole community and have people like I want people talking about it, but in a good way, not because we're selfish and we're semi-promotional, but we want it to be like, wow, had no idea that this existed. And some of the data points we've shared in the past have actually been documented. Like, for example, we've added close to 2,000 gambling affiliate programs in our app in 4 years, but we've closed over 1,100 of them. That's a lot of closed brands and programs. So I think that data is insightful because I think this could open up a conversation of being like, why are all these brands closing in the first place? Like, isn't this like, the industry of just money trees and you just print money? You create a casino and it exists and it never goes out of business. That's not the case. And I think we need to start talking about it.
I think, the data that you're talking about is like gold dust. If you can provide anybody with useful data within this industry, then you're going to get their attention straight away. I think definitely the educational route is amazing. And I also think though mixed in because as I kind of said before, I think you get quite a lot of attention on your personal brand, and I think that's brilliant because it kind of goes back to that point where you were talking about earlier, where people buy into people. So you've got that sort of educational piece that's like, you know, that's thrown surrounds, but then you've also got that part where, do you know what, John's approachable, he's, you know, he's informal, we can have a laugh with him too. And I think that combined is like the magic formula.
Yeah. And the one thing I didn't even realize when I was going down any of these rabbit holes was that, it's I think trust is probably the most difficult thing to build because it's like, there's always like scams in any industry and it's like, well, why would someone build up their personal profile for years and put in a ton of work only just to rip people off? It's like the companies that are doing rug pulls are the ones that have no people behind it. So it's beyond just people buy from people. It's kind of like, putting the name out there. It's just, it goes right into the subconscious that it's like, okay, I can trust me, I can trust you, because, you're willing to put your name out there and, kind of, just expose yourself for, what you do for work.
And I think that's why like we're a very like conference heavy industry. It didn't used to be like that. So when I was first started like 15 years ago, we literally had like two conferences to choose from, and that was it. And now it's like I can't keep up with it. I can't even keep up with the calendar, and everybody's asking me, "You going to this one?" Oh, I don't know yet. Like, how do you choose which ones are the best ones for you to go to? And, you know, is that a difficult decision? Because I know even for us, like it's like a challenge, you know, choosing the ones that we think are best for us and the ones that are kind of going to get an ROI on.
Yeah, it's really difficult. I mean, we did a ton of conferences in the first half of this year. I would regret kind of pulling one out. Like if I had to say, okay, which one could we have done without? I think they were all beneficial. From our point of view, I think it's company by company. In our situation, we're starting to go very heavy into building more products. So I'm very happy to be, home for the month of August and to be able to, not think about another conference. Now we do have a Lisbon coming up, and we do have Sigma Rome that I've got on the agenda, and maybe Athpapa in Mexico. But the second half is going to be a bit more quiet. So for me personally, I want to focus more on building products. So I know I can do another event and get more sales pipeline, but the pipeline that we want to build is kind of in a different direction. It's like if we can build something that's like amazing, like we said before about having unique data sets, it's like what's more important, talking to people about selling what we currently have or building something that's just going to pull people in. And I think that's been our mentality since start of 2023 is be a product led growth company, and that all is based on having customers and just going, what do you want?
Yeah. See, since the start of Stone, is there anything that you can kind of pull out and say, "Do you know what, that was a mistake. I wish we hadn't done that," that anybody could learn from within what's listening to the podcast today?
Oh, yeah. Quite a few things. We actually thought that our first product, when we relaunched it in 2021, that it was going to sell itself. We thought we didn't need any marketing. It's just like we post on a couple forums and we'll just take the customers in and then we'll figure it out later. We needed to do a lot more. We needed to do a lot more marketing and sales. Funny enough, we did actually work with someone who was a salesperson, and it was just a disaster. I think a lot of it had to do with like we probably should have been more of a product-led growth company. So after trying sales and having it failed miserably, it's just kind of like, we spent more money and we had less to show for it. I think one thing we know now is that our buyer journeys can be long, like 1 year or longer, but they can also be short for different reasons, which is word of mouth. If someone says, "Hey, I use StatsDrone," and they say it to their friend, that's almost an instant sign up. If it's other people, they kind of need to hear that from other people. So yeah, for us, it was a pretty brutal mistake. It was just the wrong person at the wrong time. I think there's some companies that they're better suited for sales, but I think for us, it's the way in which we're selling better now is word of mouth, because we started building a better product. And yeah, I'm glad things worked out the way they did, but it wasn't linear and it wasn't pretty, and it was very challenging.
Footprints in the Market is brought to you by Digital Footprints, your strategic marketing partner and safest bet in iGaming. Make your mark and work with us to drive growth and innovation for your iGaming business. I think one of the things we kind of wanted to do with Footprints in the Market was make iGaming advice accessible to like new entrants. So I think obviously what we've kind of got is it's like a big industry, but a small industry at the same time. And there's lots of big affiliates, lots of big operators, and lots of big, tech suppliers. So what I wanted to know from you is for an iGaming startup business, what would the best piece of advice be that you could give them and you're based in your journey?
Yeah, I would say for people to be a bit more public. I mean, yeah, even copy some of the things that we've done
Yeah.
because what we've done is what other companies have done. So we never invented any of this stuff when it comes to like branding. I do think it's becoming important to be visible on beyond blog content. Blog content is still solid because I mean, there's nothing wrong with like, getting an article in like Times of Malta or Cyprus Mail or IGB or SBC. Constantly do that. I think you want to have the touch points where people know about you, they talk about you. But yeah, I'm a big believer in podcasts. When I went down the podcast rabbit hole, I followed a guy named Tom Hunt who does basically B2B podcast coaching. And from watching what he does, and he told a story about how he was like, didn't know what he's doing, did a podcast for his company, and then he didn't get sales initially, but eventually he landed a massive contract. And the company was just like floored. They were like, this was everything. So yeah, it's I think when it comes to building a brand, the challenging thing about a podcast is you won't always know if it came, like your customers are coming from the podcast. So
Yeah.
the example, it's like so and so listens to the podcast, they tell the friend Google's stats shown, they
Yeah.
sign up. So on my side, I see the sign up has come from Google. When I
Yeah.
ask the person to put in the field how they heard about this, they're going to tell us from the friend.
Yeah.
But what I'm not going to know is that the friend only told them about that because they heard a podcast episode. So it's going to be the attribution is very
Yeah.
difficult, but I think you just build a brand. If you're working for a company, take on that responsibility, do it yourself because I mean you are stacking your resume. Like there's nothing more stackable than saying, "Hey, I've been a podcast host for a year," and it's like you're building followers and trust. I mean,
Yeah.
you can take that to any company. As far as I'm concerned, you can take that skill with you for life anywhere.
No, 100%. I actually say now, and I genuinely mean it, and I was actually saying to my business partner, I'm actually quite an introverted person. People probably would believe that based on my chat, but I actually am. So when we were first like, oh, we're going to start a podcast, I was like, oh, I'm going to need to be the face of this, am I? But then I found, and it's much like what you're saying, like the attribution model is different in terms of what you're not going to know if it's directly come from a podcast. But anecdotally, when I was asking people, how they've came through our site or even ChatGPT, someone had said they'd found us in ChatGPT, but the reference point was they're an iGaming digital marketing agency, but they also have a podcast footprints in the market. And even me, giving marketing advice, I wouldn't have even seen that for ourselves as an agency. So I think you're absolutely bang on the money that, like, even as a byproduct, stuff like that just has so many benefits.
Yeah. And it goes without saying, I mean, like what you're doing as a strategy is brilliant. It's like, look, we've just built this relationship from having a podcast, and it's going to be 10 times easier for me to recommend you just from having this experience. So, I mean, like, what you're doing is brilliant already. And yeah, I'd say for anyone that's in the B2B space, it's definitely worth copying.
Well, thank you so much, John, for coming on the podcast. We really, really appreciate it, and hope to catch up soon.
Awesome. I'll see you at the next event, and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.